Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program may contain adult content and is intended for mature audiences only.
5,
It will.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The arguments begin now.
Hello. Audio, hello. What the heck is going on here? I'm not hearing.
Well, you got audio.
Yeah, but I'm not hearing any of both speakers. Hello, audio.
Turn your hearing aid up.
It is up. Maybe if I do, I just turn it on. I think that.
You old some bitch.
I had the old crackly, whatchamacallits. Anyway, let's hello, audio. Well, we'll get to this in a second here. There, try that. Audio. It's coming by. Audio, hello test. Coming out of both speakers. But I'm not hearing it.
I would say as long as, I mean, your voice is coming through just fine. So apparently you're having a headphone issue if you can't hear what's happening.
Yeah, I probably need a new set of headphones. That's what I'm thinking anyway.
I kind of half-assed do too, because I put Windows 11 on the computer, and since then, it used to be I plugged in my headphones and they just kicked on and they worked, and now I get nothing. And I went into the settings, and I've tried every single setting they have for microphone or for headphones, and none of them make my headphones work. So I don't know what the heck. I think Windows 11 is probably just a piece of shit, and you probably they shouldn't force us to buy it.
You probably need a driver for them. That's usually what happens with mine. When
I got Windows Update set. I got Driver Max. I got all that stuff.
Found it.
I mean, my shit should work unless I have to go to the actual website and download drivers for that particular set of headphones. I don't know. That's the next step.
Yeah, anyway, it all works right now.
Yeah, it hasn't given me too much trouble.
What the heck? We might as well do a show, huh?
Why not?
Good evening, everybody. And all the ships at sea, I guess. We got quite a show for you tonight. As usual, we're going to argue about things. And he has no idea what's coming. Of course,
I can hardly wait.
And neither do I.
You know what?
I guess that makes it fair.
It's gotten to a point where I don't even need to research anymore. I mean,
all you do is sit there and deny it all.
Get on here and just tell you guys how much of idiots the Democrats are being, and I move on with my day.
Well, I got a clip.
All these unfounded comments.
I got a clip you're going to say that about. I can see this coming. The other thing we're going to talk about besides Elon Musk tonight is there was two political satirists that were comedians. That was George Carlin and Richard Pryor. Both these guys were political activists back in their time, and they were trying to give a warning through what they were talking through their shows and that for their stand-up comedy. We're going to take I got a clip that I'm going to show you guys in a little while that kind of has a message there, and I want to see if you get the same out of this, Dale, as I did. Everything all right? You talking to?
Yeah, I got a cat crawling up in my lap.
Oh.
He likes to come underneath the computer desk, and then he pokes his head out from under there before he decides to actually get on my lap.
Princess does
so I'm about to have a guest. So we could have a guest star today.
Oh, that's cool. Anyway,
he bailed.
Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the current happenings politically first, I guess. What it was announced and supposedly took place, yesterday? Where Elon decided he was leaving Doge and going back to his...
Oh, that happened no, that was last week that he said he was leaving Doge and leaving his political quote-unquote spotlight.
I think he finally...
His actual day of leaving was supposed to be, I think, this coming Wednesday. But yeah, that was announced days ago.
Yeah. I think he finally got the hint. Nobody
got the hint.
Nobody likes him.
You know what? Nobody likes Donald Trump, but he's the president and he's doing good things for the country.
Here we go.
I mean, it's not about who likes you. Hell, you don't like me.
Well, that's true.
But you get on a show with me every 2 weeks.
Me, but you argue with me.
I mean, shit. I mean, it's...
Are we at the...
Who gives a crap?
Are we at the 10-minute mark yet? Let's do some... I don't really know too much about him leaving. You got to wonder who they're going to stick in his place if they're going to put anybody in there. Have you heard anything about that?
No. What I am curious about is, because of course I sit here and I watch your little scrolling thing that you do before the show, which we need to talk about after the show. There's a few typos, but basically Musk drug abuse. Where the hell did this come from? Really?
Want me to show you? I can show you.
I mean, now he's a fucking drug addict.
I can show you.
I mean,
I can show you.
I mean, hell, half the Congress are on fucking coke. I mean, they're blowing something up their fucking nose. I mean, but all of a sudden he's a drug addict. Well, but he's a drug addict that, has put spaceships into space. He's done this, he's done that. I mean, so let him do some drugs. If he is on drugs, let him do them. He ain't hurting nobody. I mean, he ain't hurting nobody.
There's times, Dale, with you that I just can't believe what comes out of your mouth. What you're saying is drugs are all right. If they want to get coked up, let's just stick that into politics too. Is that what I'm taking from that? That's what I heard.
No, what I'm saying is, hey, what goes on in my house goes on in my house. I do not prefer.
Yeah, but you're
not. In other words, I'm going to tell you flat out. I had somebody at my house 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, hey, roll it up. I watched this kid roll up a joint, rolled up a blunt, because, you got to use the Philly. And, well, actually, I think it was a white owl, so what I like to call a hootie hoot. And, he was getting ready to go outside, and I looked at her, I'm like, Justine, you cool? She's like, I don't give a shit. I'm like, smoke it. I don't give a shit. That's his business. I did not have to smoke it. So
yeah, but
he can smoke his shit.
A little out of context here. Would you want that friend of yours affecting and participating in the politics of this country? Give me a break.
Um,
Do you want that?
Nowadays, I might trust him more on a political platform than I do the people that are in politics now. And I'm, by far, I am not saying that drugs are cool. I'm just saying that just because you partake in something, I mean, if he was a fucking heroin addict and zoned out 3/4 of his life, now we're talking about a different story, but you got these freaking morons running the country now, and it's ridiculous. And then if you look at the children that are being brought up right now, and you're like, oh my God, I hope I die soon, because these are going to be the next leaders of our country. It's fucking scary.
Oh, I'll give you that
scary.
much. I'll give you that much.
I mean, so do I want somebody that's smoking a little weed, or do I want these ignorant kids that can't read a clock running my country? I'm going to take the pothead first. I'm sorry.
Pothead's one thing. Just. But when you're on cocaine or meth or anything like that, or Kettering like Musk is supposed to be on, you want that? You want that helping to run your country?
Now Musk is allegedly on what?
Kettering. It's a
what? Okay, that's new to me. What is Kettering, and what would it do to a human being?
It's supposed to be really bad for your kidneys. I do know that. I mean,
well, who gives a shit about that?
I'll give you a definition in here in a second.
I'm looking at cognitive things.
What is Kettering?
I don't give a shit if he fucks up his kidneys. That's his business.
I think there's only one T in that. It's not.
Right.
That's not there. All right, Kettering Health. Oh no, that's not it. I wonder how you spell that even. See.
Kettering? I would think it would be Ttering. I would assume. You're calling a drug Kettering?
Yeah, it's called Kettering. Kettering.
What is the drug Kettering? Okay, there. I just did my little Siri or whatever the hell you want to call it.
I just looked it up too.
And it's actually comes up under Keppra
or ketamine. Ketamine is a dissociative anesthetic that has some hallucinogenic effects. This is going to lead me. Saying this leads me into this. I want to play this little video that we got. The first of the two that I want to run. So let's just keep that thought and see what you get out of this because of it. This clip's about 3 or 4 minutes long, I think. And it'll give you a description as to what's going on. Now, the one thing I will say is this isn't the only place that I've supposedly this entertainment place did this clip on him. I think it might have been investigative TV. Let's watch this thing first, and you can give me your opinion.
And that's Elon Musk speaking out from the Oval Office today with President Trump by his side. Musk is stepping away from his work in Washington to concentrate on his companies. This comes as a New York Times expose claims that Musk's drug use was more intense than anyone ever knew.
President Trump paid tribute to first buddy Elon Musk today, as the world's richest man said farewell to the White House.
That's it, really. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Musk's exit from Trump world comes as a jaw-dropping New York Times report claims he was taking a powerful cocktail of drugs while he was on the campaign trail. The Times says it's unclear whether Musk was taking drugs when he became a fixture at the White House this year. According to the Times expose, Musk's erratic behavior, including waving a chainsaw around and that notorious Nazi-like stiff arm, can be attributed to a daily mix of ketamine, ecstasy, psychedelic mushrooms, and Adderall. They claim he travels with a daily medication box that holds 20 pills. He told people he was taking so much ketamine that it was affecting his bladder, a known effect of chronic use. Last year, Musk told journalist Don Lemon he used prescription ketamine to cope with depression, but denied abusing the drug.
If you use too much ketamine, you can't really get work done. So I have a lot of work.
Repeated use of these substances, especially the cognitive deficits and the mood swings that can end up happening when somebody's using ketamine regularly. So those mood disturbances that can make somebody edgier, can make them less functional, and therefore can make them act in ways that are not typical for them.
There is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line.
When a reporter tried to ask Musk about the Times report today, he hit back.
New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? That New York Times? Let's move on.
And what's with the shiner on his right eye? He got it roughhousing with little X.
I said, go ahead, punch me in the face, and he did. Turns out even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does.
That was X that did?
Yeah.
X could do it. If you knew X, he
I
could
saw
do
his
it.
mom, right?
Meanwhile, Joe Biden spoke out today about his cancer diagnosis.
I feel good.
Have you decided on your treatment options?
Yeah, we have. And we're underway, and all the folks are very optimistic. Their expectation is we're going to be able to beat this.
All right, we're back. Thoughts?
Oh, I love the end of that because that gave me a good talking point. But at least he admitted it, so it's obvious that at some point he was doing this ketamine. Okay, because he actually come straight out to a reporter and said that he had taken that. And I know how, pain pills and different things, or whatever, how it's used. Okay, I'm saying it's possible. But to me, that doesn't detract from him finding the billions or millions or billions or trillions or whatever you want to call it of dollars that were frivolously spent by the U.S. government for absolutely no reason. So what I'm saying is, did he have a drug problem? It's quite possible. Did it affect the work that they were doing? I don't think so. And that's kind of where I'm at with that.
I hold just the opposite opinion. You talked last week about you and I not tying ass here in the last couple of weeks, so I was prepared with this one. The simple fact of it is, barring what drugs he's on, I just don't see how you could condone somebody that's on drugs that do have psychedelic and other associations. How can you want that being in the same room with your government? In the same
80-90% of your House of Representatives and Senate are at least, at the minimum, on fucking coke. And if you think that I'm like misspeaking, okay, my percentage could be a little bit off. If you don't think those motherfuckers ain't coked up, you're fucking crazy. Watch them and listen to them. They're fucking coked up. Okay? They're all on fucking drugs. They ain't, it's just like, the pastor at the church that I haven't attended in a while, and I need to go back. But he'll tell you, I'm just as dirty and nasty as you are. And they got the money. They're doing all this stuff. They're trying to do all these politics. They need to stay awake. They're coking up. And Lord knows what else they're throwing into the fold with it. You listen to AO fucking C. You think that fucking bitch is fucking straight? Come on.
Well, you got the same thing on
that
both
bitch
sides
might
of
as
the
well
party.
be a Martian.
You got the same thing on both parties, though. This isn't.
That's what I'm saying. They're all fucking fucked up. All of them. So to kind of, once again, like I used this term the last time we had a session here, we're cherry picking. Let's pick on Elon Musk. Well, no, let's pick on all these other folks that are doing what they're doing, and look at everybody as a whole rather than looking at one individual person, because everybody, they're all half fucked up. I mean, I know there are ones out there that are genuine and are cool, but come on.
Well, if you look at this through the eyes of a 71-year-old man, and you know,
10-year-old,
and you know what it was like when this government was decent, and you see the shit that's going on now.
When was this government ever decent?
Back in the Kennedy era.
Long before your time.
Back in Kennedy.
Long before your time. Oh, you take Kennedy and shove him up your ass. The government ain't been good, and
well, it all kind of started.
Our founding fathers would roll over in their graves at a quarter of the shit that all our ex-presidents have done. Democrat, Republican, anything in between. Okay, this country has become a shit show in comparison to what our forefathers set forth for us.
Why should it be?
Huh?
Why should it be that way?
It shouldn't.
Oh, there you go. That's the proof on it.
So I'm saying, if you want to go back and say, okay, Kennedy was a good guy, well, maybe for the times he was a good guy, but he did nefarious shit just like everybody else. And I'm going to stand here and I'm going to say, if you don't think Donald Trump ain't doing some nefarious shit in the background,
you bet he is.
He is. Just like Bill Clinton did nefarious shit, Barack Obama did nefarious shit, and Joe Biden did nefarious shit. Okay? There are things that they don't want us to know about. And maybe one day we might find out what the hell it was, but I doubt it. But, I mean, it gets done every day. So, you got to go back to the roots of this country and this government to really see people that actually cared. And you look at the subject of slavery, okay? And when slavery was abolished, you had all these states wanting to go against it. Why? Not because slavery was wrong, but because, oh, wait a minute. Well, we're going to lose free help, and we're going to lose this, and we're going to, oh shit, Our state can't handle losing free labor and this and this and this. It had nothing to do with you're saying you own a human fucking being. So even as far back as that, you're already seeing the government that was set up fucking up. So if you don't think it ain't fucked up now, it was fucked up long before we got to now.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. It's even that way with, to me, in a lot of aspects, all this does is comes back to money. The political power and the money. Political power leads to the money, though. Just take
Absolutely.
This barring, let's just take this out of politics. Let's take it and put it into healthcare. How much do you think that is donated and given to these healthcare places to find the cure for cancer, and you hardly ever hear about something coming out? You know why?
Well, actually,
these fucking companies don't want you. These companies
actually, I have.
These fucking companies do not want you to know that. They don't want you to know they've got a cure for it, because
there was a gentleman
it all comes out of that fucking money. Right there,
buddy.
Was
a gentleman out of Cleveland Clinic that allegedly come up with a cure for several different types of cancer. And they just brushed him under the rug, disproved him somehow, and blew him off. But this guy had you can't. What happens if you cure cancer?
No more.
You lose a whole lot of fucking money for all these pharmaceutical companies that are backing different political groups and whatnot, and it's just an endless circle.
You can kind of take the COVID-19 stuff and make that the same way. Do you think that wasn't money motivated? Boy, you must be living in a dream world if you believe that, because it was all money. Those fucking pharmacy companies. All that was, we need money for this, and we're gonna sell all these masks, and they're going at $1.50 a piece, and we can't make enough of them. Think that ain't money?
I'll tell you what, I did not get COVID until I took the vaccine.
I got it beforehand.
Unfortunately, I had a good job at the time and was forced to. I held out as long as I possibly could, but I finally had to do it. So I've taken the first 2 shots, but I've not done any of the boosters or anything like that. But I didn't get COVID until after I took those fucking shots.
Yep, I believe
so. You tell me, I mean.
Well, there's no telling even if you wouldn't have taken the shots if you would have got it or not. I got it before it was popular. I had COVID the week after Thanksgiving that year. I think was it 2020?
Oh hell,
2019?
Many of us probably did too, and just didn't fucking know it.
I got it from.
I
got it from the tire dealership up there that I used to pick up tires from.
You can get a nasty freaking cold or think you got the flu, and you actually had the COVID, and you didn't even know it because nobody was talking about it yet.
And that time, I have never been so sick. And it,
Oh, see, I got it. Maybe it was the shots to help me. I woke the first night I come home from work as the night progressed. I kept feeling shittier and shittier through the evening, and then I went home and did my thing, went to bed, and I woke up in the middle of the night in just an absolute puddle of sweat. So I don't know if I broke a fever at the time or not, but after that, I never ran a fever. I did test positive for COVID. But, I had a really, really nasty cough that, just beating the shit out of me. But other than that, a lot of these symptoms that you hear other people talking about, I didn't go through. I just had a nagging cough, and other than that, I was like normal. I wanted to go to work, but under the rules, I couldn't. So, I had to take the time off work.
I couldn't taste anything.
I'd have been working.
For almost 2
I'd have been
weeks
working
after
the
I
next
got
fucking
that.
day. I mean,
I couldn't taste
I was fine.
So when I caught that stuff, after it was all gone, it had left me. I think I had it for like 3 or 4 days, the worst of it. I caught it on like a Friday, and I was home for the weekend, and I called off Monday because I was just too sick to get out of even bed. And COVID was different because of the fact that instead of horking up your whatever you eat for dinner, your sinuses go nuts, and it produces all the phlegm and everything else. And that was the worst I have ever seen it with me. And I get your annual cold or two every year, but I'd never been that sick, nor do I ever want to be again. But do you think that was all money generated? And do you think even your president at the time said that, oh, I'm going to take this horse medicine because it said it can get rid of it? You think that wasn't inspired by a little bit of money? I better rethink that.
Could have been, but I put somebody else in office. They'd have done the same fucking thing.
Yeah, and
I mean, come on. I mean, let's put Joe Biden up there. Take this.
He'd be
and that's exactly. And yeah, we'll get into Joe Biden in a little bit, but because I guess I have a topic that I would like to bring up. It should be a short one, but yeah. So I mean, we've already went over all the people, half of the Congress being on fucking drugs and shit like that, and you don't think that every president doesn't have an agenda of people they're trying to please? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, what you're looking at is what are they doing for the American people? Now, so you got President Trump. Yeah, he may have his agenda, but at least he's doing things for the American people. Whereas, these other presidents, they ain't doing dick. I mean, other than feeding their agenda.
I could count
at least he's giving you the best of both worlds.
Yeah, making you believe he's doing something for you.
They're all crooked. It's politics. It's politics. Every one of them are crooked. I don't give a fuck who it is. Okay?
That's true.
I voted for Donald Trump, but am I going to sit here and act like he's a freaking angel? Absolutely not. But what he brings to the table, I believe, helps the American people and helps the country as a whole. That I will say. If you want to talk about lesser of the two evils, okay, I think that's what we have right now. Because I sure as the hell didn't want that dumb bitch running this fucking country. Because Lord knows where the fuck we'd be right now.
Yeah, I just kind of myself think that you're gonna have this crap either way. You're gonna have corruption in all the offices of anything political, and it's a damn shame, because I remember what it was like when I was growing up in the '60s and that. There was not another era that was ever like that. You had music that was great, absolutely flipping great.
Hey, come on. The 80s had better music. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't.
80s had better music. I'm sorry. I have to throw that in.
Between 60 and 65, you had more. The music was predominantly Beatles tunes and
it was
Beatles music.
What you're talking about, it was all war-oriented.
Well, that there was some of that, too. Beatles wasn't all war-oriented.
Quite a bit.
The Beatles weren't all war-oriented.
By the time you hit the 70s, the Beatles were pretty much has-beens.
And then you got into the 70s, and from about 73 to about 77, that was disco era, and that was all garbage music. I'd be the first to admit that.
Oh, come on. You had a zoot suit.
Yeah, whatever.
With the boots and the whole bit, didn't you?
Yeah.
You ain't got to lie. Didn't you?
I had to get the starch collars and everything, man. It was.
Oh, say it on there. You had it all, right?
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay,
I
knew it.
Believe that, boy. If I got some swamp. I got some rice land down in Florida. I'll sell you.
Oh, you know you. I know you had a zoo suit.
Oh yeah, whatever. I had
Come on, bell bottoms.
I will give you one thing.
Silk shirt. You had the whole kid caboodle.
I owned a Nehru jacket. And my Nehru jacket and my Beetle boots were the slickest thing around. I looked good.
Oh, okay. So you had it. Okay. So you was right in there with them folks you talking shit about right now.
It wasn't nothing to do with the what you said earlier as far as the zoot suit. Nehru jackets were like cool, man. You'd look at yourself and I look fine. And look at my pointed Beetle boots down there, all black and shiny. That's the way it was back then. There were a lot of problems. You had a flipping Vietnam War that was tearing it up, which ended up leading to even better music by 1970, because then you had Kent State and that happened, and that actually had its own influence on the music scene itself. You had Simon and Garfunkel that were really peace activists, and their songs were that way. You had Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young they told a story that was where Fort Annan, Ohio came from, and Woodstock. You actually had the Woodstock thing in '68. Those are three or four things had their own real distinction on music. And music was grand. I don't know if you'll ever have another era like that. But this, and when you
did the 80s.
The only thing you had to really
I keep telling you that.
The only thing you really had to worry about back then was getting thrown into the war that you didn't want nothing to do with. And a lot of kids went to Canada. If I would have been 19 instead of 18 at the time, I would have been in Canada until it was over with. Because I didn't feel that was my war, and I didn't want to serve in it. I'd be the first to admit that. But the whole thing comes down to it. All got over with. And
nobody wants to go to war. You got some people out there. But nobody's asking for it. Asking for, let me go to war. Nobody wants to do that.
When you had the draft, you had no choice. You didn't even get to
right.
You didn't get to choose what section of the military you got.
You could be, like my uncle that was like, well, I'm going to get fucking drafted anyways. So what I'm going to do is, rather than get drafted into the Army and just get pushed in as a grunt, I'm going to join the military and then be able to pick my job. And he went into the Air Force, of course. Yeah. But then once he got to Vietnam, they put him in the Special Forces. They threw him in a frickin' platoon of Green Berets. and sent him out about his business. So yeah, it kind of, he had good intentions with what he was doing, but it kind of backfired on him, I guess, so to speak.
Well, the
You know,
worst
but
that could have been that back then was a Marine or in the Army. Those guys were the ones that were did all the ground fighting, and I wouldn't want to have been in with any of that. I was a peace activist the whole time I was growing up like that. I didn't feel that, if it would have been something I felt the country, if somebody would have blown us up or something like that, then I probably would have changed my tune, and I would have probably volunteered to join, but I didn't have that. Never came across, and I never had to. Anyway, this actually ties in with a little bit of what this next video I wanted to play has to say. So, got anything else to add before we switch over to that?
No, I do have a small Joe Biden topic.
All right, let's do that next.
But we can throw that in anytime.
Let's do that next then. Go ahead.
All right. Well, so we keep now as you know, most presidents, and they announce it on the television, generally speaking, they get medical exams, they get colonoscopies, all that shit every single year. Now, all of a sudden, after 4 years, Joe Biden has stage 4 colon cancer. But where was that the last 3 years? All this time, Joe Biden is in perfect health. Oh, he's not going crazy. There's not this happening. There's not this happening. There's not something else happening. If you don't think the media and the doctors in the government were not covering shit up, I mean, come on. Here's a prime example, right there.
He may not have. He may not have known he had it.
Come on.
No,
he gets checked every single year. He went from nothing to stage 4 in a matter of a year.
I would have, if I didn't.
Bullshit.
If it didn't get stopped.
That is complete bullshit. They knew the guy was fucked up. And they wouldn't say it.
You don't even know you've got this shit most of the time. You could be sicker.
But he was tested. You don't even know it. You might not know it, but he was tested. They didn't catch him at stage 1. They didn't catch him at stage 2. They didn't catch him at stage 3 over a 4-year span of time.
That's not how that stuff.
Come on now.
When you get it, they just determine what stage it is at that point. Believe me, I know all about it. And you don't.
He had it before they announced it.
Up until November.
He was already sick when he was in office. Clearly, medical doctors have said he was sick before he was in office. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that everybody brushing everything under the fucking rug when we had a fucking half-ass crazy guy running the fucking country. And God bless him. I hope the best for him, and I hope his treatment works out well, because I don't wish any bad will to anyone. But come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, most people that get
somebody was bullshitting somebody.
Most people that get some forms of that are like with me. I had the doctor called mine early stage 3, and they said that the reason I went through the chemo like I did was that if you go through the chemo. If you don't go through the chemo, you got about a 1 in 3 chance of it coming back, or about a 30% chance of it coming back. If you took the chemo, that dropped to less than 2 in 10, which is 20% chance. They said it was less than that. So That's why I decided at the time that I took mine. It was not really painful. It was an awful experience. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Let me ask you this. Before you were diagnosed, were you getting regular colonoscopies?
No, I'd never had one.
Exactly. That's my point. This man has been getting regular colonoscopies, and all of a sudden, I got it. I mean, now you ended up getting one because you was having some problems, and you ended up getting one, and then they found the cancer. Okay, I get that, but this man gets checked on a yearly basis as the president, and nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Makes you wonder if he wasn't going through treatment because like when you're going through chemo or whatever, how much that'll knock you down and fuck with your head and stuff like that. Makes you wonder if that wasn't going on before, which is what was causing the things that we saw that was, kind of making him look pretty fucked up.
I was wondering that when he did that debate with Trump. I wondered about that. He didn't.
Well, see what I'm saying?
I think he was probably going downhill at that point.
I'm not flying off the hook here and just trying to make up some bullshit. I'm spitting straight at you. So I think that was some bullshit. And it was a definite cover-up by the government.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could have been very easily.
Oh, sweet Jesus. But oh, sorry. I was
I don't think that there was any political affiliation there, though. Of course,
political affiliation.
Yeah.
Well, there was obvious political affiliation because it was the Democrats trying to hide the fact that their president was fucked up during the election, which is why ultimately they ended up bringing Kamala out, and she would have probably had a better chance if they would have brought her out earlier, but they decided to try to hide everything for so long, and then all of a sudden, he ain't the president no more. And then all of a sudden, hey, look, President Biden is sick. Well, no shit. We knew he was sick for 4 fucking years.
I don't think...
We just didn't know what was causing him problems. We knew the motherfucker was sick. We just didn't know what.
I don't think that there was... What
you don't think there was anything nefarious there?
I really don't think so. But I'm going to tell you something else that I do. I thought the minute I heard that she was running and they were going to put her up for nomination, I at that point thought she ain't got a chance in hell. You want to know why? Because America is not ready for a woman president. I don't care. You have had, 6 in the last... what the hell? I think there's been 6 women over the last 20 years or so that has been put up for nomination for president, and not a one of them's gotten in yet.
And they've all been fucking idiots. I think that yes, we are ready for a woman president. I know, hell, if you look at the population, there's more women out there than men.
You and I may think this, but America by itself,
I think
the voters in America are not ready for a woman.
It's going to take a female that'll get up there and just be hard-nosed and I ain't taking no shit, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, hell, maybe we need a fucking transgender. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but I think we're ready for a woman president, but it's got to be somebody, some lady that throws up a presence that you just, you just gather around the presence of that woman when she speaks, when she talks. And I think at that point, we will have a lady president.
You've had charisma. That's what that comes down to.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's you're not seeing that from the other ladies. Yeah. All they're doing is trying to appeal to the ladies rather than trying to appeal to the American public and truly just stand out as a, I ain't taking no shit kind of woman. I mean,
do you know who do you in your opinion, which one of the presidents since Kennedy do you think had the most charisma?
Charisma?
Yeah.
Well, Donald Trump. I mean, but Ronald Reagan was great, but he was toned down. Bush did pretty good, both Bushes, but they were toned down. Whereas, Donald Trump just gets out there and speaks to the people and kind of, forces his message across. So as far as charisma goes, yeah, I'd have to go with Donald Trump because he's definitely got charisma.
Get ready to argue with
me. I think.
Get ready to argue with me.
Okay.
You've stated every one of your picks was a Republican.
Yeah.
Well, don't you think that? How do you think Clinton got in? How do you think Obama got in here?
Oh, Obama was a brilliant speaker.
He is, and he was a
brilliant
charisma
speaker
that got him elected.
But I don't.
When you go back even,
it's still if you want to compare the charismas, and don't think I wasn't looking at that. And you have to also remember, my coming of age was the first president I voted for was Ronald Reagan. Okay, so I can't go too much further back than that as far as my own personal experiences.
Yeah.
So if you look at, where I'm throwing up shit, that's kind of where it's coming from. Yes, I have always said I don't agree with all of Barack Obama's views, but he was a brilliant speaker. And that is what got him elected. Absolutely.
Yep, exactly. I thought Reagan was a realist. I will give him that. I thought he was a pretty good speaker too. My favorite, though, the whole line has been Obama. I really, even now, if you watch him on a show or watch him come on to an interview show or something, it's hard to tear yourself away from it, because you know what he's going to say. You may not agree with, but he says it in a very elegant way. That's the way I've always liked it.
He's a brilliant speaker.
All right, now we
kind of like Hitler. Hitler was a brilliant speaker.
Watch that.
Hey, I'm just saying. I mean, so why are we calling Barack Obama Hitler instead of just Donald Trump? We used to call Barack Obama Hitler.
We can call
because
we can call it Elon Hitler.
He X's all the boxes, but whatever.
We can make it Elon Hitler.
Just figured I'd throw that out there.
Anyway, let's pop into this last video I got.
All right. What you got for me?
Yeah, when you hear this or hear what they're saying, compare that against what you know today, and the political surroundings of today. There's a lot of meaning to this thing. It was like they were almost trying to give us a message. Well, we'll be right back. You're watching the Art of Argument with Dale and Pat. Catch you in a minute. Stay tuned.
No, if you think there's a solution, you're part of the problem. That's what I believe.
You can't get in a position of power, it seems, if you think like that. It seems that the only time you get in a position of power is if you're like the people that are in power. To me, that's the way it goes. People that get to become executives become like the people that were already executives.
I don't know, maybe
they go in with good intentions, but it eats them up. It's like a cesspool. It just gets on you and it starts
system
eating.
levels them.
Old school comedy wasn't just about jokes. It was unfiltered truth wrapped in humor. The kind of truth that makes you laugh at first but stays in your mind long after. The problem is we never really paid attention. We laughed, we clapped, and we moved on. But maybe we should have been listening. The things they talked about weren't just comedy. They were warnings. And now looking around, it's clear we're missing voices that aren't afraid to say what's really happening. People who see through the distractions and break things down in a way that actually makes sense. Listen to this.
I lost all faith in this species and in my nation's culture a long time ago. I got a divorce. It's never going to work. If you think there's a solution, you're part of the problem. That's what I believe. If there's a bunch of guys hang around together in high school or college and then one of them gets married, he changes. He's in a group, and the wife will say, well, he's just wonderful with the kids at home, but when he's with those morons at the bar, he's different. Mm-hmm. And the guys will say, hey, you were such a good guy, but when he's with Linda, man, the guy's, just a drag. People change. And then the bigger the group, as the group gets bigger, 6, 8, 12, 15, 115,000, they begin to have hats, armbands, little slogans, lists of people they don't like, and it gets out of hand. So I'm in favor of people one by one, but in large groups, I would like to see them disappear.
That right there is the kind of honesty you don't hear anymore. The system isn't broken. It works exactly the way it was designed to. And the second you believe you can fix it, you're already caught in the trap. And then there's this.
What do you think that these executives are afraid you're going to do to white America?
Probably stop some racism.
Stop racism?
Yeah. I'm probably afraid of that, because then people don't hate each other, and people start talking to each other, and then they start talking to each other, they find out who's the problem.
Which is?
Greedy people.
Greedy? I have a couple things I want to ask you there. Do you really think that some of the guys that you dealt with at NBC, no names, right? Because there's lawsuits for that too, that some of these guys really want to promote racism actively, or is it a subconscious?
I just think it's part of capitalism, is to promote racism, right? In order to make things work. If you feel better because you're white and you can get a job, you use that. I would.
Absolutely.
Say, I'm sorry, Jack, but shit, they say I'm white, I'm going to use this.
Right, absolutely.
Get this job, I'm hungry, But, and that separates people. So they keep people separated, and that keeps them from thinking about the real problem. That's as simple as I see it. Probably it's not that simple, but...
Now, all right, you and I are about the same age, right? We're in our mid-30s. How long is it going to take before guys who think like you, and I say guys who think like me, people who don't want to have racism in the country, people who don't want to be oppressing any minority, whatever it is, sexual, whatever minority, really get into positions of power and can change things?
You can't get in a position of power, it seems, if you think like that. It seems that the only time you get in a position of power is if you're like the people that are in power. To me, that's the way it goes. People that get to become executives become like the people that were already executives.
I don't know, maybe...
They go in with good intentions, but it eats them up. It's like a cesspool, it just gets on you and it starts
eating. The system levels them.
Pretty soon it's all gone.
Is that what a cesspool sounds like?
Yes.
This is the real issue. You can't change the system without becoming part of it. And once you do, it changes you. Even if you start with good intentions, the machine will pull you in and turn you into just another piece of it. This is why nothing ever truly changes. The same patterns keep repeating, and the people in power make sure of it. These two weren't just comedians. They were messengers. And everything they warned us about is still happening. Probably worse than before. So maybe it's time we stop just laughing at their jokes and actually start listening.
Well, what'd you think?
I have to absolutely agree with the things that were said.
Yeah, when I saw that this afternoon, I thought it reminded me of a clip that I play every once in a while on a sound effect. Let me hit this once. See if you get the same meaning from it.
The problem is we have a problem. It's not that we don't know that we have a problem. We've known it for years. It's not that we don't know what the solutions are. We've known those for years. The problem is we haven't done anything about it.
There you go.
I can't help but agree with that too. I mean, listen, we've gone to hell in a handbasket. I mean, from the dumbing down of the children to trying to indoctrinate people through schools, the news media, the different things like that. It's like okay. You can go, into the inner city. We'll say Akron, Cleveland, Columbus, where you have a larger amount of African American people living. And they absolutely hate, for the most part, white people. Why? Because it's this stuff that's being taught and progressed. And then you end up with the hillbillies in Appalachia and bullshit like that. And then, they're like, here, we're not in Appalachia, but we're close enough. You got Barber Tucky, and you got Streets Tucky, and, shit like that, where, oh my God, I hate a black person. And they just hate black people. We've been turned against each other in such a way that, we don't want to interact. And I think with what these folks were saying, the end game is, well, they don't want us to interact, because then we might figure out the bullshit that we're being fed by them. So it's, but I'll tell you, if you look at like some of the inner cities, it's gotten bad enough that, I don't even want to go over into North Hill. Okay. It's around the corner. And I don't even want to go into there because I don't know, like it used to be, you go down to Stonehenge and with your friends and you do some lunar bowling or whatnot. I'm terrified to, go down there, because the last time I was in there, there was a guy hanging out in the little game room that he wasn't playing no games. He was just kind of standing there. So if he wasn't the guy that was pushing drugs, I'd be fucking surprised. Because, I'm not ignorant. I'm not stupid. It's kind of like the guy standing on the corner. He kept his post, and people knew that, if they came up to him, they could get what they were looking for. And I know damn well the guy was peddling fucking drugs. So I haven't been back in there since. And of course, the place has changed names, but doesn't mean that the situation has changed.
Yeah.
But we're being pitted. There are bad white people. There are bad black people. There are bad Asian people. There are bad Arab people. There are bad people all around the globe.
I think
but we've been turned against each other.
Somehow the politics actually falls into this. There was a quote, I think it was by Abe Lincoln, "A house divided shall not stand." I think that was one of his favorite
yes, absolutely.
And
absolutely, I have.
If you keep
it's in my closet, but I have all of his writings.
If you're in the majority, and you keep that majority divided, it's going to be that much easier to run amok. That's the way I've always looked at that. And I think in some aspects, between the dumbing down of America's children to the way these politics are, it used to be back in my time, in my early life, anything the president said, it didn't affect you. Fuck them, I don't care. But nowadays, the president breathes something, and especially if it's something that can be debated, you're going to see all kind. And if it isn't debated by politicians, it's debated by social media, which is completely unreal anymore these days. How you can take and win an election by influencing the social media of this country? How do you do that?
That's where half of the world is looking for their information.
There's your key word. There's your key word there, though, Dale. You said the rest of the world. The world's not supposed to be affecting our politics. The world's got no business here doing that.
And I agree, but nor do
we have the right to do the same thing to them.
You're absolutely correct. But the unfortunate problem is you have people that are attached. It's like, okay, it's like when I keep telling these jokes about being a Gen Xer. Okay, I remember life without a phone. I have life with a phone. My phone is I double check my email, and I wear a Fitbit, so I check to see if my pulse rate hasn't gone crazy. And other than that, I have no TikTok, no Instagram, none of that stuff is on my telephone. I have none of that. I don't subscribe to that. But you have all these Americans that are subscribed to each and every one of those, getting information from people like you and me that are trying to push their views upon somebody else. And if you're a little bit younger, you might just fucking believe what the hell comes out of your mouth or my mouth. Yeah. And in lies the problem, because not everybody has good intentions. Some of this shit is nefarious, but all these younger people and even older people. Justine Scott, the woman she'll be turning 50 next year. She got all that shit on her phone. Okay. I had to get up at 7:30 this morning to meet with the people to measure, in the bathroom. And I decided, okay, I'm going to lay on the couch and try to catch a couple more Z's before they get here. You know what I had to do? I had to move 3. Count them. Let me get my hand up higher. I'll make sure it's a camera view. Whatever. 1, 2, 3 charging cables I had to move in order to be able to lay down on the couch. Okay? Now she lays on the couch every night. So what's she do? What she lay down on the couch, plug all her fucking bullshit in, and sit there and wait for something to fucking beep? I mean, come on. Yeah. If that is the way you are going to live your life, you're going to get filled with some bullshit. And that's what part of the dumbing down, that's what half of America is fucking doing.
I think it's more than half.
3 cables hanging over the side of the fucking couch.
Really? I think it's more than half.
I'd have been okay if it was like the cell phone cable. But it was 3 cables for 3 different electronic fucking devices coming right over the side of the fucking couch. And I got a back behind when you get to the plugs, got like a little conglomeration going on back there to run all the fucking plugs up to the back of the couch so she can plug something in while she's laying her fucking punk ass on the fucking couch. I mean, come on, that's some bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said a little bit ago,
no, walk through your house. Walk through your house
it's the
and see
down.
how many charging cables you find plugged in to your fucking electricity.
It's the dumbing down of America. That's the whole thing.
I bet you'd fucking you'd shit your fucking pants. I bet you got at least 12.
I've got
12 at least minimum.
I've got 6 here on my desk.
All right, well, okay,
but there again,
in lies the fucking problem.
I know how to handle the stuff where a lot of these.
You know what I have? I have one. One.
Well, the thing with me, these aren't devices I look at all the time. I have my phone that I put on the charger, but I've got a couple sets of headphones that use the USB things, and this and that and the other.
Oh, that's you.
You know,
I'm talking about plugged into the fucking wall. I'm guessing. Okay, yeah, you could cheat that way a little bit, but yeah, it's headphones. You're trying to charge your headphones because you use them for your radio experiences. I get it. That's fair. But I mean, it's not shit you're charging because, oh my God, I got to know what Sally Sue is doing. It's a whole different concept.
I've actually gotten somewhat addicted to these stinking reels that's on Facebook.
Oh,
I
fell down that rabbit hole a long time ago.
I waste too flipping much time looking at them. I'll spend hours looking at them. And when you leave a lot of those things, you like if I watch a lot of the cop videos, you know, cops pulling people over and not knowing what their constitutional rights are. And you walk away from that stuff and it's confusing because you don't know if it's what you just saw there is right. I sure as hell don't want to get myself thrown in jail trying to pull one of them. But there again, you know, I should know my rights, and I, to a point, do. But still, you watch some of this shit, and these cops it's like they're in a world of their own, and they're going to screw with you any way they can. But that's I guess that's a topic for.
Yeah, I've watched many. I fell down the. Matter of fact, it's funny. I'll go outside to smoke, and I start playing on my phone, and that's where I end up. Is Facebook, and then I end up on the reels, and yeah, I go down that rabbit hole, and it's like, oh shit, I got to go back to work. I've been out here too long.
Yeah.
It
goes.
I mean, it's not hard.
It goes quick.
Anyway. I sit down on the toilet. I'm flipping through the reels, and then next thing I know, my legs are so fucking numb I can't feel them, and I'm trying to stand up.
And you wonder why you can't walk.
That's a little more difficult. I have to wait for the feeling to come back in my damn legs because I've been watching all the reels. I mean, so yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Excuse me. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this for this week. I think we've done a pretty good show. That was entertaining for me anyway. I hope you feel the same. One of these. I think the main reason I like to do this show is educate people and show them both sides of a topic. We can do that. That works very well for me. So anyway, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Next up, I think, is going to be the Four Guys on Sports next Saturday morning. And then we'll continue with Radioactive. We were off on hiatus last night because of some personal stuff we had going on here, which I won't go into, but Walmart I probably should not have said this, but Walmart does not have very good quality control on their products. That's about as far as I'll go with that, though. I'm not going to tear them down. Anyway, let's wrap it up here. I just felt obligated to say something.
You might as well have just said it. Okay? The man got some chicken and the shit was fucked up. All right?
So bad you couldn't eat it.
Listen, people, I said it, not him. Okay? So, quality control, whatever, all of that bullshit aside, the man got some chicken and it wasn't no proper quality, and he was upset about it.
And yet she goes to pick up the gift card, and they tell her, well, you picked it up at what, noon? Yeah, noon. Well, when did you serve it? They were going to try to blame it on being a couple hours before it was served. That, the damn chicken was still hot. It was so full of chicken guts, it wasn't even funny. And you're going to, that's not a very good way of staying in business to me. But I digress. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. We will see everybody back here in 2 weeks. Hope you have a nice, enjoyable summer here, and we will be back. Anything else, Dale?
Good night and God bless.
And 73. All right, we're clear.
All right.